The New York Times. Answers to your questions about the new COVID vaccines in the United States. Vaccines are rolling out to health workers now and will reach the arms of the rest of us by spring. Here's what you need to know. How do these new genetic vaccines work? The Pfizer-BioNTech and Moderna vaccines use a genetic molecule to prime the immune system. That molecule, known as mRNA, is packaged in an oily bubble that can fuse to a cell, allowing the molecule to slip in. The cell uses the mRNA to make proteins from the coronavirus, which can stimulate the immune system. While the immune protection from these vaccines may last for months or perhaps even years, their mRNA does not. It is destroyed by our cells within days. Although these are described as genetic vaccines, the vaccines don't alter your genes in any way. By Carl Zimmer. What do the vaccine developers mean when they say their vaccines are 95% effective? Vaccine developers test their vaccines in clinical trials. The fundamental logic behind these trials was worked out by statisticians over a century ago. Researchers vaccinate some people and give a placebo to others. They then wait for participants to get sick and look at how many of the illnesses came from each group. In the case of Pfizer, for example, the company recruited 43,661 volunteers and waited for 170 people to come down with symptoms of COVID-19 and then get a positive test. Among those who got sick, 162 had received a placebo shot, and just 8 had received the real vaccine. This result shows that receiving a vaccine dramatically lowered the chances of getting COVID-19 compared to receiving a placebo. The difference is expressed as efficacy. The Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine has an efficacy rate of 95%. If there were no difference between the vaccine and placebo groups, the efficacy would be 0. If none of the sick people had been vaccinated, the efficacy rate would have been 100%. A vaccine's efficacy rate and effectiveness rate are different. Efficacy is a measurement made within the strict confines of a clinical trial, whereas effectiveness refers to how a vaccine works in the real world. No one knows yet the true effectiveness of these new vaccines. By Carl Zimmer. A version of this article appears in print on December 22, 2020, Section D, page 2 of the New York edition with the headline, A Guide to the COVID-19 Shots.